We're no stranger to bad neighbours on this show, but this is new. No neighbours. We've discovered rows of empty homes, boarded up, neglected and often rotting, all owned by the government. For the almost 200,000 people on the wait list for public housing, it's a disgrace.
Wendy moved into her home in Talara in Maitland, New South Wales 2.5 years ago, and she's been waiting for friendly neighbours to move in next door ever since. But the property's been abandoned by public housing.
It was pretty bad when we first came here, and it was like it for about 8 months or more, and then they started coming around and mowing, but that's all they ever did.
Well, we are in a housing crisis, a cost of living crisis. I mean, no doubt there would be people that would love to live in that home.
I know.
More than 63,000 families are on the social housing wait list in New South Wales alone. Nationally, the list is 190,000 long. This property, along with some other boarded up blocks, belong to the Department of Housing, but locals say they've been empty for years.
We've got a school just around the corner, shops just around the corner. We're so close to Maitland. It's an ideal location.
Tamsin lives across the road from one.
What would you like to see done?
Maybe a nice family in there, you know, where the kids can go to the local school.
How long have you lived here, Ray?
31 years.
Good place to live?
Yes, it is.
And that's a bit of an eyesore, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it is a waste of space.
Lauren says she can barely make ends meet.
Why leave an empty house when there's people that actually need houses and people struggling to get houses?
Do you know people that would appreciate a home to live in?
Right now, me, if that's a 4-bedroom house, me.
Pretty pink flowers are growing next to planks of wood where 86-year-old Faye says her dear friend used to live. The pensioner claims the property's been vacant since she passed.
Well, I don't think it's very good when there's a home sitting down there and they don't do anything about it.
Does it make you angry?
Yes, it does. Yes. When you see homes not even looked after.
In Windale, Newcastle, stands this derelict home which has clearly been neglected. Sue lives across the road.
How long has it been like that for?
Ages. Ages.
Years?
Yeah.
And what have you heard? What's...
Well, what I've been told, it's getting pulled down. That's it.
How long have you heard that rumour for?
A long time ago.
Next door is a newly renovated property, but it's also empty.
I think it's tragic. I think it's a wasted opportunity because we know that people really want safe and secure houses, and we know that there are houses there with some changes and some improvements would be perfectly suitable for those.
CEO of Homelessness New South Wales, Dom Rowe, says that in order to solve the housing crisis, at least 10% of all property needs to be social housing. But decades of neglect and underfunding has made that target virtually impossible. She says in order to catch up, at least $2 billion worth of investment is required every year for the next 10 years.
Anyone that owns their own home knows that you need to put money into that house to keep it in good condition, and that hasn't been happening.
Dom walks us to this social housing complex in Woolloomooloo in Sydney, where a tree is growing inside this public housing property.
Well, it's happening because the gutters aren't being maintained and seeds are being dropped in those gutters and are turning into trees.
But did you say there's an elderly woman who lives there and
yes,
she's literally got a tree trunk growing in her living room?
She's literally got a tree trunk growing in her living room.
Last year, the New South Wales state government announced it's putting $6.6 billion towards restoring and repairing over 33,000 homes, of which we're starting to see the benefits.
It's so bad. It's so depressing and horrible.
Well, I think it's a disgrace.
After we raised the alarm about boarded up homes here in Blacktown, Western Sydney in July last year, action was finally taken. The properties were all demolished in November last year to make room for government-owned units. Brett in Newcastle wants to see his street receive the same treatment.
There's rats, vermin, cockroach plagues, And I know for a fact that when they board them up, if people have left stuff in there, there's still stuff in there.
Gosh, so who knows what's inside
Correct.
there at the moment?
On one side of Brett's home is a boarded up house, and on the other, empty land, which up until a short time ago also housed a dilapidated shack. So what next?
Wouldn't it be nice to have lovely neighbours?
Oh, it would be.
That you could
Yeah.
chat over the fence,
Sure.
borrow some sugar?
Yeah, got a cup of milk.
The Minister for Housing, Rose Jackson, says her department is trying to work out if the damaged homes can be redeveloped and made livable. For something that's supposedly a priority, no one seems to be moving very fast on it.